All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on this amazing invisible system. You know, the one that keeps every single plane you fly in, no matter if it's brand new or decades old, unbelievably safe. It's this whole world of super meticulous rules and constant oversight, and yeah, we're going to break it all down.
So, have you ever really thought about it? You get on a plane, you find your seat, and you look around, and you can tell this bird's been flying for a while. So what is it? What's the secret sauce that keeps a 20-year-old airplane, this incredibly complex machine, just as safe as the day it rolled off the factory floor? Well, I'll tell you, it's definitely not magic. It's a system, a really, really thorough, legally required system.
And that right there is the key. You see, an aircraft's safety journey doesn't stop when it leaves the factory. Heck no, that's where it all begins. It's not like your car where things just kind of wear out over time. With a plane, its airworthiness, its fitness to fly has to be actively, constantly managed and proven every single day.
Okay, so how on earth do you manage all that? I mean, who's in charge? It's not like every airline just gets to make up its own rules. Nope. There's a really structured, top-down system that covers the whole planet. Let's start at the very top.
At the very top of this pyramid, you've got ICAO. That's the International Civil Aviation Organization. Think of them as the UN for aviation. Now, they don't actually write laws, but what they do is create the global gold standard. They set the rules of the game so that a plane flying from Paris to Tokyo is playing by the exact same safety book.
And we're not talking about a couple of friendly suggestions here. Oh no. The ICAO standards are laid out in 19, that's 19, incredibly detailed annexes. You can basically think of them as 19 massive rulebooks covering literally every part of flying, from how you license a pilot, to the rules of the air, to, you guessed it, the airworthiness of the plane. It's the whole shebang, the complete blueprint for keeping flying safe, everywhere.
Okay, so ICAO sets the global standard. Great. But a standard is just a standard until someone makes it the law, right? Well, here in Europe, that's where EASA comes in, the European Union Aviation Safety Agency. They're the ones who take that global blueprint from ICAO and turn it into hard, binding law for all the member countries. EASA is what gives those standards some real teeth.
So what you end up with is this really clear hierarchy. You've got ICAO at the top with the global standards. Then you have EASA turning that into regional law. Then each country's own aviation authority, their NAA, makes sure everyone's following those laws. But at the end of that chain, the people actually doing the day-in, day-out work, that's the organization we're really here to talk about.
And that, my friends, brings us to the beating heart of this whole system, the Continuing Airworthiness Management Organization, or as everyone in the business calls it, the CAMO. So what exactly is a CAMO? Well, in a nutshell, it's the organization, officially approved by EASA, by the way, that has the legal responsibility for one thing: making sure an aircraft stays airworthy. And airworthy is just the official way of saying it's safe to fly. And this isn't just a one-time thing. They're on the hook for the aircraft's entire life.
Here's the best way to think about it. A CAMO is like an aircraft's personal medical team, and they're on call 24/7. Seriously. They track its entire life history, they schedule all its checkups, they oversee any procedures or repairs, and they keep a flawless, complete medical chart on everything.
Okay, so we've got this medical team for the plane, but what does their day job actually look like? Well, all their work really boils down to a few core tasks that are happening all the time, totally behind the scenes, to keep that plane in the air safely. First up, they are the guardians of the maintenance plan. This is a super detailed schedule of every single check, every service, every part that needs replacing. Second, they oversee every repair and every modification. Nothing happens to that plane without them making sure it's done exactly by the book. And third, and you cannot overstate how important this is, they document everything. Every screw turned, every part replaced, every sign-off, it all goes into the official record. So all this relentless work, all this paperwork, it all builds up to one single crucial piece of paper. The ultimate proof that the aircraft is safe to fly. And that proof is called an Airworthiness Review Certificate, or ARC for short. If the CAMO is the medical team, then the ARC is the aircraft's annual certificate of good health. It's the official stamp that says, yup, we've checked everything, it meets all the rules, and it is absolutely safe to fly.
Now, this certificate of health isn't good forever. It's only valid for 1 year. It works on a cycle. So in year 1, the plane gets a full top-to-bottom review and the ARC is issued. For the next 2 years, it can be extended, but only if the plane has been in what's called a controlled environment, which basically means it's been looked after by the same camo the whole time. Then after year 3, boom, the cycle resets and it's time for another full deep dive review.
And when I say a full review, I mean it is thorough. It's built on 2 main pillars. First, the paper trail. They go through every single record, every logbook, every repair order with a fine-tooth comb to make sure the documentation is perfect. And second, the physical survey. They get hands-on with the actual aircraft to make 100% sure that the physical plane matches exactly what the paperwork says it is.
I mean, that's the job right there. The people who do this, the airworthiness review staff, have this immense responsibility. Their job is to be able to stand up and certify, yes, what's on the paper matches the metal, and both of them meet the absolute highest safety standards. They are that final, critical checkpoint.
But you know what? The system doesn't even stop there. Modern safety is about more than just following the rules and ticking all the boxes. It's about being proactive. It's about looking into the future.
And this really gets to the heart of a huge shift in thinking. The old way, compliance, is all about asking, are we following the rules today? And don't get me wrong, that's super important, but it's reactive. The new way, what we call a safety management system, or SMS, asks a much smarter question. What could go wrong tomorrow? It's all about actively hunting for risks and potential problems and fixing them before they can ever cause trouble.
And that brings us full circle, right back to that 20-year-old airplane. The reason it's so safe isn't a mystery at all. It's the product of this entire layered system we've talked about. From those big global standards, down to the CMO doing the daily grind, all proven by that annual ARC, and all of it powered by this proactive, forward-looking safety culture. That is the invisible safety net that's underneath you on every single flight.
When you think about it, this whole system, this web of accountability, constant review, and looking for trouble before it starts, is exactly why flying is one of the safest things you can possibly do. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Where else could we use this kind of model? In our hospitals? Our power grids? In the tech we use every day? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this one.